Hi, I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Littleton Historical Commission, December 10th, 2025. We have a pretty full agenda. I think first we will accommodate our guests from the Eagle Scouts, is that right? And I guess there's a presentation about you're putting up flagpoles at the West Lawn Cemetery and the old burying ground, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, do you want to come up and talk about it? Sure.
Hello, everybody. We're all having a good evening. My name is Jude McMahon. I'm a Life Scout for a troop on Littleton. I'm one of the two troops here in Littleton, and I am working on planning my Eagle Scout project. Requirement number 5 for Eagle Scout is, while a Life Scout, plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project helpful to any religious institution, any school, or your community. The project must benefit an organization other than the Boy Scouts of America. A project proposal must be approved by the organization benefiting from the effort, your Scoutmaster and unit committee, and the council or district before you start. So I am here to request permission to carry out my Eagle project. My project would be to insert flag holders like this one into the ground in front of the graves of veterans in West Lawn Cemetery and in the old burying ground. These would go in front of graves about 4 inches down, and then when people of Scouts or of other organizations or the citizens on Memorial Day or Veterans Day wants to plant flags in front of or next to graves of loved ones or other veterans, slide right in like that, and it keeps the flags from blowing over or keeps the flags from breaking or getting dirty or things like that. I have been donated graciously 100 of these to be used for this project by Mr. Sirocco's, I think, nephew. I have some photos here that show what exactly would happen. I've got photos. This was an already installed one of these flag holder. It slots right in front of the grave, and it sits right up there, and then a flag can be inserted right on top where everybody can see it.
When you say in front of the grave, you mean the gravestone, or, because the grave extends from the headstone.
For West Lawn, it would just be right behind, from looking at it, behind the marker. If you want to, I can pass these photos around for everybody to see them. See exactly what I mean.
There are photos on the back.
Yeah, there are some others on the back of a different gravestone. For the old burying ground, because the veterans who are buried there have vertical headstones as opposed to flat ones, we would make sure to bring those farther, about 6 inches in front of the headstone, in order so that the flags don't brush them or damage them in any other way. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask me, I'm welcome.
And we're taking a little bit of time to look at the pictures first.
So it looks like they're all going near flat ones at the West Lawn.
Yes.
Yeah, at West Lawn. Okay.
There are vertical ones at West Lawn also, are there not?
Yes, there are.
Yes.
So would you be using these devices with those as well?
Yeah, we would.
Oh.
Again, we would move them into a position where they wouldn't damage the headstone.
What time of year are you planning this project?
The planning is going on now, but if it would be, when it gets carried out, it would probably at the earliest be spring, because it's too cold now to dig even a couple inches into the soil to
Right.
insert these.
What is your plan on getting them in? Like, are you like gonna sledgehammer them in, or are you gonna dig them in?
I think we have a tool for that, right?
Maybe tool.
We have a tool. Actually, I have a concrete drill bit.
Ah,
And I
okay.
just I experimented with it and it works fine. A 1/2 inch concrete drill bit, just drill it into the ground, put it out, put the flag holder in.
And you mentioned you were donated 100 of these. Have you counted how many veteran sites there are?
I think there are about, what is it, 400?
400.
Yeah, close to 400. There was a project about a decade ago in 2015. Another scout, Brian O'Neill from our troop, did 175 of these. So a good chunk of them already have existing flag holders in, which is what those photos are of, an existing one. But we have 100 available to kind of chip into that.
Is there any, like, are you picking based on any certain parameters or who would be
I-
the next 100?
I don't think I'm in charge of deciding which graves are going to be chosen. I think that's up to the Veterans Commission.
Yeah.
But Ever?
I think for the old burying ground, I went on the, site at the veterans site. The old burying ground site.
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
I went on, the, town site for the old burying ground, and I found the names of, I think, 19 veterans. So I know there are at least 19 there. There may be 22. Some of the directions to find the, graves or the markers are not there anymore. Well, it's so many feet from a tree or something like that, and tree's not there anymore, or whatever. So, Michael Kieran, commander of the VFW, and John Borowski, the past VSO, are the ones who organized putting the flags out there, along with John Howard, commander of the American Legion. So I was with them last May when they did that, and it took quite a while. So putting these holders in would help also to identify where the flag should be placed. So we're asking for permission to install these flag holders mainly for the full burying ground. The precedent is already set for West Lawn.
Thank you. Any other questions,
If
thoughts?
there are any questions, I'm willing to hear them.
Did you already go to the cemetery commission or do you, is that something that you need to do?
No, they wanted us to go here first,
Okay,
right to Andrew San Marco.
yeah,
We've been working with Andrew.
sure, okay. Any thoughts or someone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we the Littleton Historical Commission votes to approve the Eagle Scout project of placing veteran grave flag holders at the Old Burial Ground and West Lawn cemeteries.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing this project.
Yeah.
Thank you. The agendas, if anyone needs any.
No, we got some.
Yeah.
So one thing. Oh, yeah.
Gee, Libby?
Ah, just getting old.
Oh. So I think I'd like to jump to the Tuttle House at this point. There's a fair amount to discuss. So, as I mentioned in some of the background information, I was contacted by the town administrator, James Dugan, letting me know that the current owner of 550 King Street, Salapoli, no longer wants the Tuttle House on the site. It no longer fits in with his plans. He would pay to move the house off-site. Background is the draft environmental impact report that he submitted indicated that it would be preserved and maintained on site. The final EIR didn't really talk about the Tuttle House itself, but talked about driveways, although it's required to include the draft report, so it was in the draft part of that report. A meeting was convened on December 4th from various boards. I can't remember all the boards, the Affordable Housing Trust, Planning Board, Historical Society, Historical Commission. There are other boards, I can't even remember who else. And we had a discussion, and, you know, which I will talk about some of the things that were discussed at that meeting. During that meeting, they thought that the Historical Commission should make some either decisions or preferences first before some of the other boards move forward. So here we are. So part of that discussion, and I think what makes sense here, is first to decide, if we have not already, if this Tuttle House is of historical significance. I don't know whether this commission ever voted that in the past. Maybe we did, but I think maybe we didn't, because I don't think this has ever come before us as a project, really.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It was just there, and
Historic significance is typically a vote that precedes a chapter 65 request for demolition. So I don't believe we've ever seen a request for demolition on this property, so therefore I can't imagine we would have.
Carolyn maybe could fill us in. I mean, as I understand it, this property and the so-called pear orchard were discussed at length long before many of us were even here in town, and this was the preservation of that complex was of some significance back when Digital first built that big building there. But I don't know, because it was before I was here, but Carolyn was probably here at that time, so maybe you remember.
As a
it was
6-year-old.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really remember much. I know that, of course, Digital used it. So that they moved, they were the ones that moved it closer to the street.
Yeah.
And made a conference center out of it. So they used the building.
I don't think it was moved I remember when it was moved, and I think that was after Digital.
So there is a
Yeah.
precedent for moving it.
Yes.
Meaning, what do you mean by a precedent?
It's been moved
It's been
before.
moved before. So,
Wasn't it just moved once?
Yeah,
yeah, but if.
but it's not in,
It's already
No,
been, it's
correct.
been moved.
Yes,
It's just
right.
like
it's not in its original location.
1925, this is according to Macros, like that's pretty significant.
Yeah, so it's actually listed on the first homes of the New World, right? So as one of the 14 properties in this
In
region.
Littleton.
Really?
Yeah,
Colonial Homes of Littleton, Massachusetts. So these are 14 in Littleton.
yeah, it's listed as the Thomas Nye House.
Yeah.
Where would it get moved to?
Well,
That
we'll
would
get
be
into
our
that.
problem, right? That would be
Well,
our problem.
we'll talk about that. So I guess the question is, one way to approach this tonight is to just vote on historical significance first and then go on to all the other topics, like where would it be moved to? Or we could broadly discuss it, all of those first. What do you think? I think we should vote on historical significance first, because that's what other people are asking, and it kind of depends on that. Everything else depends on that.
And to be honest, I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, let's,
We
let's
should
talk
vote.
about it.
To us.
Right.
Sure.
So I just wanna, another thing from Macris, is in the Macris form,
Yeah,
towards the end,
the 13-page form.
yes,
What's-
I
With
just
the
wanna
three
read-
times it's been surveyed.
right, it's very repetitive, the Macris form,
Well,
but,
because it was surveyed three different times, 1968, 1967, 1986, 1998, I think is what it was. So three different surveys.
That shows that it's pretty significant unto itself, that if it's gonna be
Yes,
surveyed several times.
yes. So this Thomas Nye was a Revolutionary War captain. He came from Sandwich and he is accredited with some of the early defense of this region during the Revolutionary War. And it actually says that this house was a muster station in the Revolutionary War.
I also wanna read something from the Macris form on page 7. Statement of significance by the consultant who developed the form at one point in time. Like you said, it's been written up 3 different times. This person said, despite its loss of outbuildings, the property at 534 King Street is architecturally / historically significant on a local level with regard to the above referenced criteria, which were, and considerations as one of at least 14 locally identified surviving colonial period dwellings and for its retention of a substantial portion of its agricultural landscape, especially its pear orchard. Now, of course, that
Oh, God.
last part is gone.
Oh, God.
There's a couple.
I think some of it's still there. I mean, nobody realizes it anymore. But I think some of the pear orchard is still there. I mean, everybody's forgotten about it, but, when Digital built it, whenever that was, there was some big deal about preserving the pear orchard. And so I think it was preserved. Now, of course, with the house being moved closer to the road, it sort of dissociated a bit from the pear orchard, but,
So I have notes from our past meetings, et cetera, criteria for historical significance. So let's just briefly discuss that. So we're basing this on something. And this is criteria for the National Register, which is of course very strict. So we don't have to be as strict as that. Federal criteria include associated with historical event or person, which Andrew was describing the person. The event could be a significant contribution to broad patterns of history, like
The Revolutionary War.
the Revolutionary War, agriculture in this area. The second point is has physical integrity, distinctive historical architectural features, which I think it does. I think the overall form from the colonial form still exists.
yeah.
Distinctive characteristics of a period, I think we have that. And then the last criteria is at least 50 years old, so. Then, they talk about moving, which is somewhat of an issue with buildings, more so for the National Register than, for this type of thing. Moved buildings are often excluded from National Register, but there are exceptions. If they have architectural significance associated with major events or people. Moving a structure often reduces its integrity, but exceptions are made. Now, as we know, it's been moved once. We still think if we decide it still has historical significance, so moving it again shouldn't be such a big issue. Some exclusions include relocating or moved for development if no other preservation option exists. So that may pertain to this situation. For the National Register, you have to show the move was necessary and that the move doesn't destroy too much historic fabric. integrity, you have to maintain a property's historical integrity after the move. Necessity. Moves are usually considered only when preservation in situ isn't feasible, saved from demolition. So that's all right. Development necessity. So that's criteria, federal criteria. Any other thoughts about this for historical significance?
It's
Well-
clearly very historically significant.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could doubt it. The fact that it was moved, I mean, we thought that would be, we were being generous about that to preserve it, and, I think, that should not detract from its importance. Clearly it's been a very important property. I'll leave it at that for now. I have other things to say, but.
So in this Macros report, they do have the National Register of Historic Place Criteria statement. So, the basic statement that it says, and I feel like this is as apt as it was when it was written. Despite its loss of outbuildings, the property at 534 King Street is architecturally historically significant on a local level with regard to the above reference criteria and considerations as one of at least 14 locally identified surviving colonial period dwellings, and for its retention of a substantial portion of its agricultural landscape, especially its historic pear orchard. Now, the orchard is not coming with the house, I understand. But it clearly means something to the town, or it should. So, yeah, I think we definitely have to vote to save it.
Yeah, so I think I have a slightly more discerning opinion, which is, I think the property, according to the thing, was built in 1720. And it is relevant where it sits. And when it was moved, it seems like it was just moved forward, but it still represents a Revolutionary War mustering station. The farmland that it was on extended all the way back, and it was, bisected by 495. And so it has been extensively renovated, right? And so when you read through this, what you're reading is it's gone through an extensive renovation into a conference center. Before that was an apartment building. Before that, it was a home. But it's related to the fact that it was basically a famous farm known for all these different varieties of pears. There also was a blueberry farm at one point in time and a strawberry farm at one point in time. And so my concern is that the Thomas Nye house, tucked into some corner on the opposite side of town, is not the same as the Thomas Nye house sitting on the land that it currently sits. And it even says that so much as it's been renovated many times, but it's part of the farmland that it sits on, and it represents the farmland of Littleton. So I would say that, the building is like a center entrance colonial style, right? I mean, it's not architecturally, it's not like Mies van der Rohe structure, you know what I'm saying? Like
What?
like a famous architect,
Oh.
where it's
Right.
just like modern design or whatever, or Beaux-Arts, and
Architecturally significant in any way.
that's right.
I'll absolutely agree with that. It's pretty ordinary for the time period. And I absolutely get your point of it is, the land also makes the house.
That's right. That's right.
But
I think the building is architecturally significant of that period. There's
Sure.
only 14 structures from that period in.
And how many still exist?
Right, so there are very few structures architecturally in town from that era, so I think it is significant.
oh, right, and I don't mean, as we said, it wasn't a famous person who was it was a standard
Right,
colonial
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
so based on architecture, I think it should be saved.
So I would argue that the site is historically significant with the structure on it.
And if we can't,
That's tricky though, because, you know, we're arguing for the site, but, you know, we don't have, well, I mean, the only argument, the thing there we could have would be a demolition delay. But, I mean, this is the kind of guy who would be prepared to leave it there for a year and then tear it down, so,
Yeah,
you know, I am really, I mean, this guy has come into town and everywhere he looks, he wants to tear something down.
sure.
I mean, I thought that he was supposed to be sympathetic to historic buildings from his other work, but, you know, he wanted to tear this building down, you
we
know.
can,
Yeah, so something must have changed, like I always. When I hear about broad business moves, there's gotta be some story that has changed either the plan or whatever, because this was always part of the plan, leaving the structure here, so again, I'm thinking about several things, so. The structure is a 1720 structure. And sure, you can jack it up. And I think jacking it up and moving it 50 feet forward is very different than jacking it up, putting it on trucks and trucking it somewhere. And then I think where you put it, so you put it down the street, and then you have a 1720 house that's no longer tied to its historical roots, but it's a 1720s house. And if this guy doesn't want it where it is, then he's not gonna want it wherever it goes. So then you have another sort of public interest nightmare on your hands, because like, what do you do with it?
well, we can talk about that more.
That's another,
Yeah, well, we have, there's some ideas,
it's a bunch of different questions here.
right, so this is the
a
first
different-
question.
Yeah, so,
First question, right,
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
where I'm sort of asserting that I think it's site. I'm
You can say
100%
on
in
site.
on site.
that's what you,
That's my assertion.
Chris, your thoughts?
I go right to like, why does he need to move it? You know, like, there's gotta be some sort of good reason. So I'd be interested more in. There's really no workaround for that. I mean, it just seems like very specific thing that we need.
I can't speak for him, it was something, we were told something like it no longer fits into his evolving plans for the site.
Mm,
Carolyn, you were at that meeting.
Yeah, I mean, this is my take on it, that it doesn't fit the aesthetic of his brand new buildings. Because originally it was going to be kind of attached to the hotel. He wants to put a boutique hotel up there. And I think the thought was having that as like a conference center for the hotel. But you wonder if they're, you know, trying to go out and find people who want to put a hotel there. If they say, well, I don't want this old colonial house next to my cute little hotel. I mean, that's reading between the lines,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
So, I mean, my only thoughts is, you know, I work for a company that develops properties, and one was Kent Cottage in Burlington. It sat vacant for a really long time. It's a cool old building, and they were trying to decide what to do with it. Everyone wanted to tear it down, and they didn't want to, so they came up with an idea of, you know, putting up apartments next to Kent Cottage, and it all sort of fit in together. So if you get creative, you can figure out a way to incorporate it, but it seems like he's just hell-bent on tearing or getting rid of it. And he's gotta have a good reason why, but.
Yeah, I agree, we should hear more about his reasons why. The town has some input on this, which is why we're being asked to weigh in on this. Let's move on, well,
yeah.
I guess we will, yeah.
So can I ask
Yeah,
that
yeah.
question? I know you don't want to go into phase two, but just to ask, so. You know, he had a plan, he purchased the land, under this plan, went through the planning board, and we saw the pretty pictures of these mixed zone, whatever. And now his plan has changed, so like, is he doing like a fast one where he went through, got planning board approval for all this stuff, and then he's like, new plan, push, and off he goes? Or does he have to go back through the iterative process of having his site approved?
He has to go through something, I know,
Yeah,
something has to be
special-
approved.
I know I didn't bring my
but I'm not sure how
Just looking for
this,
special
I
permit.
think he has to go and have the special permit re-approved.
but does that include the Tuttle House?
I think it's because if he
Oh.
doesn't have the Tuttle House there,
Ah.
I think he needs to have the special permit
Mhm.
Mhm.
reapproved, because I think Maren Toohill, the planner, mentioned something about. the
That's
special-
very interesting. So typically, so when you do all the sort of prep work for a site, right? And you get your building permits, you have a certain amount of time that you have to basically act on those permits. And then when you hear the term special permit, it usually means something that is outside of traditional building code, right? So like, if you wanna build a shed that's too close to your neighbor, you gotta get a special permit, right? So the thought that he's in this special permit space, and he's had these permits for probably a year or more, like something's up. I don't know what it is, but something's up.
Well, we could ask to hear more about why he's requesting this. I think maybe we do have to move on to the other phases here because it
Yeah.
sounds like everything's intertwined. So let's not vote at this moment about historic significance. Let's go on to some of the other
I think
related.
we should, I think,
Yeah,
you know,
Oh.
we should vote on, I mean,
Yeah,
historic significance is a sort of base thing.
I know, but
Whatever happens beyond that is.
that's what
something
I was
else.
thinking, but because Andrew has a different opinion,
Yeah.
that it's really, he would vote for it to be preserved on site, not, period.
Yeah.
I might be open to moving it, or others might be open to moving it if necessary. So I would say let's discuss some of the other options and then come back to this. Because we had a meeting that discussed options, so can I do that?
Sure, go ahead,
All
your
right.
chair.
Well, so.
These days chairs can do whatever they want. Not bound by
The
any.
executive branch can do whatever they want.
Ugh.
So, sorry, I've lost some of my notes here somehow already. Okay, all right. So, things to think about, and this is why you'll see how it's related to historical significance. These were discussed in the previous meeting that different boards had. If Lupoli continues to own the building, then the town has less control over preservation maintenance. He could, like you said, leave it there for 12 months and let it, demolition by
Yes,
decline.
Neglect, I don't
By
think that's the thing we have to worry about, I think,
Really?
because it's in good shape, I mean, you could leave
But you
it.
could leave it there and not preserve it and maintain it.
That's absolutely true.
And you
Okay.
can take it down in 12 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just this one factor.
Another factor is we should think about if we want to place a preservation restriction on this building. He would have to sign that because he's
That's
the
right.
owner. So he may choose not to sign a preservation restriction, then we wouldn't have one on the building.
Right.
Um,
And if he has a plan, he would never do that.
right. So those are things to think about. On the other side, if the building is moved, he would pay for it. A potential new site has been discussed, and that is where we wanted to put the Long Store. Same site,
Which
in
is,
front of Castle in the Trees,
Yeah, can't do it.
next to the lodge, the Masonic Lodge.
Can't do it. So,
Why?
you
Yes, you can. They could infill the back.
No, they couldn't
Why
because
not?
it's marshland.
No, they think that there's enough. So do you think there was not enough room?
We had to turn the long store sideways.
Right, they would have.
And long store was only 17 feet long.
Yeah, they gave us a map and he put the outline of it and
Yeah.
shows,
It would-
and it looks like it fits beautifully, but I was talking to
Uh-huh.
one of the select board members after, says, I don't think that's gonna fit.
No, that's not gonna fit.
All right, so then that's a whole huge
So
issue
that's- Yeah.
that we'd have to rediscuss with people who think that site might work. Okay.
what about the old, whatchamacallit land, who is that guy, on Great
Yeah,
Road,
Cooper Farm.
Cooper Farm, yeah.
Mark Rombacher mentioned that too.
They never did anything with those fields. Those were supposed to become like sports fields.
Right, and
We never
You
did.
can't make us, the soccer field won't fit because of how they put the septic up, I think it
Okay.
is. So that is a possibility, but that wasn't discussed at the original meeting.
It's not.
Alright, sounds
Okay, so
So
that's,
can I ask you another question? So this land is owned by the town.
yes,
So
right,
that does not continue as private ownership of this property.
no.
So that means the property would transfer to the town.
Correct, then the town would sell it. Now, what was discussed at this meeting is
Yeah.
if the Affordable Housing Trust is interested in this building.
Yeah.
Then the town could sell it to the Affordable Housing Trust. However, of course, the Affordable Housing Trust has to do a whole assessment
Oh,
of
God.
the building to see if it's viable. So they're gonna do that, they're gonna do that.
Oh, this is a disaster. Oh my God, I sound like Donna. Oh my God, I'm Donna. The role of Donna will be played by Andrew this evening.
Now, if the Affordable Housing Trust doesn't want it, then the town would sell it to somebody else.
Okay.
Anytime the town doesn't own it, this commission can hold a preservation restriction on the building.
Could we do the buy it for $1 and
I guess.
sell?
Yeah, and
So
then
that with historic funds, and that's how we get the deed restriction on it? Cause I mean, that's with Robinson Road, we bought it using historic funds.
that was because it was CPC.
Right.
Yeah, so is the current owner gonna give it to the town or sell it to the town?
It's gonna give it to the
Seems
town.
like he's willing to give it to the
I
town.
mean, we could buy it from for a dollar, but then what does that give us?
Then we can put a deed restriction on it if we use historic
Yeah,
funds.
CPA money.
If we use CPA funds, so we can.
Even if we don't use CPA, we use CPA funds, we have to put a deed restriction on it.
Right,
If we don't use CPA funds, we can put a
Right,
deed
so it's
restriction.
sort of a guarantee that if we do go that route, and I don't know if he would be more willing to donate it for the tax break.
but the issue is, and this is the convoluted issue.
Yeah,
The Historical Commission cannot hold preservation restriction if the town owns it.
Right,
right.
So we either have to pay a nonprofit $50,000, which no one wants to do,
we understand that.
or it has to be, yeah,
Yes,
right, okay.
yes, I think we've all been there,
Okay,
we
all right,
understand.
yeah.
But it would still be a way to get that on, and then if they're gonna sell it to private, in the way that we did Robinson Road, like, not that was a very but that was our first time. If we were a little bit more comfortable with the process of, we get the deed restriction, we can still sell it to somebody. And then.
Maybe Joe wants to do another one.
And then,
Yeah.
I guess
once
that's
it's
an
sold, then we
option.
hold the deed restriction.
Yeah, well, we
I
could
guess
do
that's
that,
an
and it would
option.
become a private house, a single dwelling, or,
I'm just saying.
Or
we said this
condomized or-
before, we're a little more experienced.
Yes, we are, very much so,
So
yes.
it wouldn't be so like flying,
No,
like, but
you're
now that
right.
we understand. So we all
So
know
we
what
would
we understand.
use CPC funds to buy, the town would use CPC funds to buy it,
Yeah,
and then
well,
when it's,
apparently we don't have to buy it, I mean, apparently it's,
right, but
Even if we buy it for like $10.
right.
That's what I'm
$1,
saying.
Like whatever.
$1.
we have to pay something if we're gonna use CPC funds and have to put a preservation restriction on it.
I mean, we always can put it, I mean, the point is that if we use CPC funds, we
Well-
have to. If we just get it,
Here's
we
the other
can.
thing.
But
We don't have to, but
Yeah,
we
you have to have the
can.
buy-in from the owner.
Yeah,
You have to have the buy-in
Right.
from whoever.
So
owns
wait,
it.
let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
If the town just buys it, or no, if it's given to the town or we buy it, we're not gonna put a preservation restriction on it until the town sells it anyway, so we don't really need to use CPC funds to buy it.
No, I guess if we
A guarantee.
pay for it, it guarantees it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's where I'm going. It's a guarantee.
I see what you're
and
saying.
for
Instead of-
$1 versus a donation, it's absolutely worth the guarantee.
I see what you're saying.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
no, that's possible.
I'll even donate $1 to the town so that
No, but it has to come from CPC.
one of our $785,000 in CPA funds
About
are
that too,
used,
but,
but
We have we have CPA funds, don't we? Like,
Yes,
we certainly have the money.
so can you explain to me how the town has anything involved to be involved with this? It's a private owner, a private
it has to be
structure.
approved by the planning board again, I believe.
His new proposal has to be.
I
applied.
believe, right?
His redevelopment of the
I
property.
believe that's true.
I think so, because the plan now includes the Tuttle House. So in order not to include the Tuttle House, he has to revamp the special permit, I think. that's
Okay.
what they said.
And the other boards at this meeting wanted this commission to weigh in
On
on this whole situation.
Okay.
So,
All right, so that's kind of a quasi thing. It's kind of quasi in the
Say that
sense.
again.
Well, so we're talking about these sort of options, et cetera, assuming that he is gonna come through the planning board and say, okay, I'm gonna give you X to move it to some town-owned thing, I'll give it to you, and then here's my plan, and I'm off, right? So he's kind of passing this off on us as a town to kind of deal with, to help him accelerate his path through the planning board.
You could look at it that way, yes.
That's right. So my opinion right now, as I sit right here now, is I don't think the town of Littleton should have anything to do with this. I think that we should assert that it's a historically significant site. And if he wants to move it, he can move it to a parcel that he purchases and set it there and then sell it to a private owner.
But, I mean, the only restriction we have there is to delay it for a year.
If he wants to tear it down.
But he can delay it for a year and either tear it down or move it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then we don't have any
I
control.
think that's the problem.
That's right.
So I don't think,
Problem.
I mean, I can see your point there, but I mean, I think that doesn't come out to be a good solution in the end.
I think though, if he cannot get through the planning board, a 1-year delay will probably cause the special permit to expire.
But then he could tear it down.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be able to tear it down because he won't have a general building permit to do anything else with that property. See what I'm saying? It's all related,
But
right?
the planning board might approve it. We don't know.
Well, that's of course a risk, right?
Although there was some planning board members there who were very adamant that it.
Right, but there weren't very many planning board members there, and we don't know how they would vote as a
Sure.
commission, as a
Right,
board.
well, yeah,
What was I gonna say? The town is involved because
he's gotta go through the planning.
some people, no, but some people in town are trying to work with him
Okay,
to figure this out,
sure.
trying to help figure this situation out. So no matter what we do, there are some people
Yeah.
trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, should we?
I mean, the problem is that if we don't do anything,
Hmm.
and the only choice we then have is to put a demolition delay on it, and that preserves it for a year. And that, as we've seen with lots of other things, people who are adamant about tearing things down will wait us out. And, somebody who has a lot of capital like that is probably prepared to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can sort of, but I don't think if he, is coming back now and saying, after being, no, we're gonna save it and it's part of the plan and so on. Now he's not gonna do that. He's likely to say, okay, we'll work on the other parts of the project. And then the year comes and we'll tear it down. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
so
risk we,
I hear you loud and clear. I don't disagree with anything you just said. And I feel that it is very unfortunate that this commission, which is given its authority through chapter 65, and the teeth of chapter 65 is exactly that. We had imposed a 1-year delay. But my larger concern is that as soon as we start talking about the risk of this property, we're already on the downside of that risk and mitigating that risk, because you're looking at a 1720 structure, right? And so the moment you get the town involved, you now have so many more complications. So he's free. He goes on with his multi-million-dollar investment and he'll make tons of money off whatever he plans. The town gets a little bit of money, which gets a company to move it down the street, right? And then, okay, let's give it to the Affordable Housing Trust. It's a 1720s building. It is not going to meet modern code.
Well, it's been renovated inside, but yeah, there's other issues, right?
There's
They may not want it.
This is going to be the tree farmhouse, Durkee Tree Farmhouse all over again. and so,
Better condition.
Much better
yeah,
condition.
but you're gonna need to put in significant amounts of money.
But they already did that when they renovated it many times.
I understand, I'm just telling you that.
It's in very good condition in the inside now.
It's in very good condition.
It's
Have you
in
been
very
in
good
it?
condition.
Very good.
I have in the front.
I still don't think that, I mean, I'm not, I'm dubious about affordable housing and these kind of things. I think trying to squeeze affordable housing into these things, unless you have a real big, as I say, I've seen examples of this walking down Massachusetts Avenue in Cambridge. Two examples using, they're kind of Victorians, but, using Victorian houses and putting, affordable housing in connection with it. So it can be done. But it's not I think it's not an easy thing. Most of the two examples there, most of the housing is not in the old buildings. Most of the housing is in, very modern, and I don't know if you've seen that. Have any of you seen them? They're right on Massachusetts Avenue on the left-hand side if you're going from Porter to Harvard. There's two buildings there. But the Victorians are in the front, and in the back, there are these modern buildings which must contain like 12 units or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something of that sort.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
typical.
So,
So,
I don't know if the Housing Trust would want to do something like that.
Right, so they're gonna assess the building.
yeah, all right, so my opinion would be the following, which is that I would not feel comfortable with anything less than trying to mark the site as historically significant, unless all these other things are lined up, right? Like if it moves, we know where it's moving to, we know which contractor is going to do the work, and what its use is going to be. Like, because otherwise, what's gonna happen is he's gonna basically destroy it anyway. We're gonna meet for a year, we're gonna talk about it. He's gonna go through the planning board, he's gonna say that he's gifting the house to the town, everything is all good, the town says yay. And then, like, this whole thing ends up in a 18-wheeler trailer truck next to the Long Store.
Oh, brother, yeah.
There were two suggestions that were brought up. One was about moving it elsewhere on his property.
Yes,
Like, where the mobile gas station is, and there's that white, it's got like a
Mhm,
colonial.
yeah,
He owns that now, so, could he move the Tuttle House down there? So it's kind of on the periphery, or
Yeah.
up where the Yangtze River was.
yeah,
That's supposed to be built on, but could he, move it somewhere on King Street to the
Yes.
side of his own property?
yes, and retain ownership, I'm 100% in favor, sign me up,
But you have to have him agree to that.
that's right. But private ownership avoids all of the challenges that public ownership comes with.
Well, but I think the answer is that, it goes through us, but then gets to be sold like the, like the Robinson Road house. And becomes private again. And we hold a, preservation restriction on it.
And
I
so
don't think
if you
that,
can find a contractor, right, and guarantee that they're committed to the project, then that's what I'm saying, like it needs to be baked. We can't just jump on this with a half-baked idea, give our approval, and then goes through the other town committees as there's a plan, and there's no plan, right? Like if there's gonna be a plan, there's gotta be a plan. Otherwise, I think that, well, I've said enough.
Understood,
No, this is not an easy
no,
No,
situation.
right,
right. I mean, I actually think that that if tonight, if we vote on, yes, we agree, the site is historically significant, the building on this site is historically significant. And that ends up going down the line and nothing comes of this and it goes to a 1-year delay, right? Then he is going to be explaining his plan to the select board, to the planning committee, to the town, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It becomes a thing.
but he could still do it.
Right, or we can agree to have him move it down the street, take it for $1. And then if we don't have a plan, it's going to basically, just by neglect, become a property that 10 years from now, this commission's gonna say, what do we do?
So if you decide it's historically significant because of the house and where it
Yes.
is. Does that mean then that, so you would not be in favor of moving it, and then you'd have to tell the landowner, we don't want you to move it? So where would that end up?
And I think there is a compromise, which is technically that all was the whole original land, right? And it got moved forward. So I feel like it's still historically significant because it's on the land.
So, yeah,
And if he wants to move it left or right, I don't think I would feel as strongly as I do about him moving it down the street.
because that was part of the farmland anyway.
Exactly. And so when you go there and you say this was a Revolutionary War muster station, right? Back then, it was a big farm, right? So like, was it right here or right here? I don't think it's irrelevant. But when it's down the street around the corner, it's,
Right.
it's
That's-
not.
If there's a compromise, what's the compromise?
Well, I think that it's a historically significant structure on the site. If he wants to move it around on that site, left or right, I'm okay with that, but I think that I have a big concern about the
So,
property.
How about if we see, I mean, I know this is a danger too, but if we suggest that there's a preference one,
Yes.
if we can't do that, then there's a preference two. If we can't do that, then there's a preference three, something like that. I mean, because I totally agree with you, Andrew. First of all, it would be better if it stays where it is.
Yeah,
Second of all, it would be better, it would be second better if it stays on that property, but somewhere else on the same property.
Yeah.
But if we can't get either of those,
Right.
third of all, it would be better if it would put on another property and,
The
And
reason I
preserve.
kind of agree with Jonathan is it's not all in our court. If the planning board
yeah,
decides to approve it, and we have only said, we only want to save it if it's on site, then what happens if the planning board says, okay, you can take it off your site? So we kind of have to
well,
work with it, think about what other boards might do.
yeah, so again, I think that I agree with Jonathan, I agree with you. My only caveat was plan 3 or scenario 3 would be move it with a plan. We absolutely need a plan. If we allow it to go down the street without a plan, it's not gonna end well. It's gonna end up in an 18-wheeler somewhere. It's gonna end up being something that a developer buys and changes it dramatically. Like, it's just not gonna go
Preservation restriction on it,
on the site, right? But I'm just,
on the house, if
I
a
have,
developer buys it, we can put a preservation restriction on it.
I have concerns.
The town thinks, some people in the town think they could sell it to a developer and it would be easy. I don't know if that's true, but
I think the house, well, you guys have been in more recently, but it's not in bad condition,
No.
right?
it's in very good
it's in very
condition.
good shape.
So.
I mean, if you go inside, it looks all, sort of like Joe has done with his thing. I mean, it's all modern and, it looks very solid and everything. I'm sure they brought it up to whatever codes they had to bring it up to and so on.
Jonathan, do you remember, does it still look like a house inside? I mean, I was in and there's a big conference room and I can't remember. Like the.
Yeah, it's not, doesn't give the feeling of a residence.
So they might have to put walls back
You
up.
probably might wanna, you might need to put some walls up, but that's probably not
Yeah, that's,
I mean, since it's standing the way it is, and I'm sure everything is, according to code to.
Put walls up.
Let me just raise one
Right,
other
I mean,
issue.
Yes,
I think the original house was 4 rooms and it's the front of the house.
yes.
Is that, maybe we could ask him Lapoli to preserve that? And maybe not necessarily the back of the house? Is that a compromise? I don't know.
No, I don't think
No.
it is because it doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah, right.
You go inside and You don't.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, it's not the typical,
Got it.
center chimney,
Yeah.
four-room,
Got it.
four-room,
So that would-
18th century house. It's
All right, so
vastly changed.
I think something we need to talk about and consider is the following, which is, I am a real estate developer. I do this for a living. And my plans have changed and there's just structure there. And so if this structure is something that, in my assessment, is something that's going to be readily purchased by another homeowner or developer, et cetera, why wouldn't I potentially pay the 50,000 to move it down the street and put it in another property and then sell it myself, as opposed to basically giving it away? He's must have done the math and determined that this is a more financially viable option.
I think he's the little different type. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not just a real estate guy. He's concerned with 550 King Street and all that. I think he's just like, hey, I want this house off. He's willing to put in $100,000 or whatever
Yeah,
to move it. And he gets it off of his property and makes us all happy because he doesn't tear it down.
yeah.
Well, what if though, we propose, and other boards would have to agree with this, what Andrew just said, that Lapoli has to take the responsibility not only for moving it,
Yeah,
but for selling it to somebody, and instead of the town
yeah.
having to do that.
I love that for option 3,
Or option, yeah.
because that's the plan.
So the town donates the land for it to get moved
No,
out, or he
well,
also has to
no,
buy
absolutely.
land?
Well, I see what she's saying though. If
That's
the
gonna
town,
be way more than $100,000 to move
Yeah.
it.
Sure,
Like, that's
sure.
not gonna, I mean,
so,
unlikely to happen.
so she's saying if the town allows the house to be moved onto town land, but then we could still say that he has to sell it.
I'm not sure where town land is gonna come from,
Well, that,
honestly.
you guys don't think that one site will work against
No, I
the
don't think that's,
trees?
no, I don't.
What was the Cooper land you thought?
Which is not owned by the town, is it? Isn't it owned by the?
It is.
I think it is.
They gave
It's
it
a
to
piece of it.
Sure.
So that's one possibility, but
Okay.
Lapoli could also find some other private site to move it to and have.
Well, that's the thing, if he moves it to, he bought the 55 acres, right? So he could move it to any of the other 55
Oh,
acres.
on site?
He owns it.
He
It's all
doesn't
his
want to do
land.
that. He wants it off.
Right,
That's his whole
Right.
proposal. So-
which is where I have high levels of concern that this is only gonna be successful with a plan.
How do other people feel about that?
But
That we would only approve moving it off-site if there is a solid plan in place where it's gonna move to, the use, and what
Yeah.
else did you say?
Yeah, no, yeah,
No.
yeah,
Disposition.
Who would buy it?
right.
So I mean,
There should be a plan.
the only the only problem with, well, that's like,
I don't disagree that there should be a plan. I think it's a little, I think we could say if, as long as there is X percentage of a plan, because I think to say that we were gonna have 100% of a plan and that's the only way, I don't think that's reasonable. Because I think that there's situations and extenuating circumstances that are gonna come up along the way, as there always are.
Sure,
So building in some flexibility, I think, is in our best interest.
right,
But I mean, I
Right.
think if we can see some more options from the town, like what is a list of sites that it could get moved to?
Yeah.
What, if he was to move it to let town own land, is a town then allowed to sell that land? So, creating.
I think so.
Right. So like you move it to Cooperfield or whatever it is.
Oh,
Are we
that's a
allowed
good
to
point
then-
though, because
is the
that's
town-
town-owned land, so.
That's
what-
right.
Is the town then allowed to sell it?
How can you sell a house on town-owned land to a private developer, right? That doesn't make sense.
Right, it doesn't make sense. That's why we need the plan.
We owned all the Robinson Road land and we sold that. So, so I mean, it's
Right,
not,
so it can happen,
it can happen,
But it depends on how the land was acquired.
right.
Right.
meaning
Well, if that was part of conservation or something, it may not be.
the CPC historic funds.
No,
Cooper-
like the
Cooper land.
How is the Cooper land?
Yeah,
As part of the like,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
do all this,
so then town could probably sell it.
we don't know.
We don't know.
back and it was gonna become. I think,
Something,
I think
yeah.
of soccer fields and then how that never happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just to donate it to get like a tax break on a, donation, and like, I don't like, if that's part of donating the house, if that's.
Well, remember also that sometimes people donate things because they want the town to feel good or because not so much that, but because the planning board requires them to do these things
Right.
in order to get
Right,
approval in cases where the approval is not automatic.
okay, so
So I think that's the key though, right?
what's that?
The planning board has the ability to get developers to have a plan and do what's necessary to be successful. I just want to remind us all, right, that the Long Store did not have a plan, does not have a plan. Robinson Road was acquired by the town. And there was a 3-year attempt at developing a plan that only became a plan after a developer stepped up and basically said, I'm gonna redevelop it, right? So,
Right, remember we had two proposals for
Yeah,
development
Right.
and the
select board.
the select board chose one rather than the other, so.
Right, but there was a long time lag before we
It
had.
was a long time,
They mentioned putting an RFP out.
yeah,
Remember at the end, they mentioned
Yeah.
maybe putting an RFP, hey, we have a home, we have this land, what would you do with it? They did say that.
Yeah, that's a possibility, it's a possibility.
and so that works.
With these other boards. I
That
think
works,
that's-
right? If you do an RFP before anything happens, before it's allowed to move or anything, and you have somebody step up and say, I'm going to buy it and do this or do that, like, I'm good.
And I feel like if we can take some stock in that for each of these projects, we've learned.
Yes.
Each, like Robinson Road did better than the Long Store. That did not end up in a truck, right? So like I think this is new for all of us and like,
Yes,
so hopefully third time's charm, like we will go into it much better, much more informed.
yes,
And I don't think that this time it would be as much just us on our own. I think that there's more of a vested interest from other groups and
Yeah.
and that's why to say like, we have to have a plan. I don't think it's on us to.
It isn't,
be the
no.
only ones to create the plan. And
no, I want nothing to do with the plan. No, I wanna be clear.
yeah,
This
Yeah.
board should have nothing to do with the plan, except to
But there
say,
should be a plan.
it's a historically significant structure where it sits. Part 2 is it's historically significant and you need a plan, right? Music City, Music Hill, right? Another example of where they say, great,
Indian Hill, yeah.
Indian Hill, you can have it, right? Like, what were we gonna do with it, right? You move it, you can put it wherever you want. Like, the town gave us no support in finding public land to put it on. There was no use case made.
The Indian Hill.
The Indian Hill.
Never gonna get moved.
Wait,
Yes,
now I'm confused. You
Yes.
meant something else?
There was,
No, just the Kibble.
Oh, the house next to it.
yes,
The house next to Indian
Yes.
Hill. Remember that gorgeous old house?
that's right.
I think this was all before my time.
Could be
They don't
before
have
your
that.
time.
Yes,
Yeah, they tore it
destroyed.
down. Yeah,
Now a
anyway,
parking
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I don't,
And again.
No,
it's
you're right.
because I.
Like, they want it out, right? And there is no way for the town, for this board to develop a successful plan, right? It's gotta be enacted.
Ourselves and.
And this time there would be, everyone else know. The only thing about us saying there must be a plan
Yes,
is the planning board or whomever may say, we're not gonna ask for a plan. You
okay.
know what I mean? It's not up to
Right,
us.
that's right.
So what do we
And
do?
then the planning board is gonna have to figure out what to do.
Mhm.
Well, it's almost too bad that you can't, like, just vote that the house is historically significant and then hear what the planning board has to say. almost like what, like a joint meeting
Actually,
between you and the, so
Yeah.
that it's all at the same time.
right, we could
Yeah.
conceivably just vote on historical significance tonight.
I think
Although
we should.
we have different ideas about that, but, because they did ask for our input before anything else happens, so that's one option, although it is related to future use.
I think we should, and then we work with them on, Andrew's plan and whatever. I mean, but they wanna
We're
know,
calling it out the Andrew.
Andrew's
they
plan.
wanna know if it's historically significant.
All right,
And I
let's,
think we should say that it is.
Right, because if you said no, they would just go ahead and say, never mind.
Of course.
Right, right, and I
Of
think, I
course.
think that's also a huge risk if we just gonna go, if we don't give them anything, and then they're gonna go.
no, I'm not even saying that, I never thought that, I think
Yeah.
we should vote. But I wanted to let everybody know all these other aspects of it because it's all interrelated. So,
I
if,
move that the historical commission declare as we've often called it, the Tuttle House to be historically significant.
With the site or without the site?
That is all I'm gonna say. I think we want it to be as simple as possible. If we want to make other resolutions that would say all kinds of other things that we think it would be best to keep it on the site, we could make another resolution that would say that.
I agree with, let's start simple with that one resolution. Do I have a second for that, or are there any more discussion on that? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I vote no.
You vote no?
I vote no.
Okay,
But,
Passes.
but other votes?
I,
Aye. Okay, so we have one resolution with one no vote. Now, we can have other resolutions, we can have other votes. Do you wanna,
I make a motion that the Tuttle House and site is of historical significance.
As long, yes, sure, second, but I guess, sorry, if I make the comment before, at least not saying only. Right? You're
Not only,
not
no.
only, okay. I think they're not opposing statements.
how about if we change that to something like that? Jeez,
Yeah,
this is right, sort of trying to do something
so here,
at the top of my head,
let's just hear what he said, what he,
which would be something like that it's the historical significance of the Tuttle House would be best maintained by retaining it on the site.
like it.
Mhm.
I like it.
that's a corollary from the first one.
Yeah, sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's a further elaboration on,
Does
yes.
that
Yeah.
sound good, Chris?
But again, I don't feel like voting for one would put you in
Correct.
Yeah.
position of
Correct.
what you just.
No, I would vote for both of them.
Right, and I think that's what I'm looking
Would
for.
be best, so how did you say it? The historical significance of Tuttle House would be best preserved,
By retaining it on the
putting
current
it on
site,
site.
or retaining it on the,
Current Tuttle land
that's well put.
Current,
On the historical
site, the current,
historical Tuttle property.
that's
Yeah,
right.
even better.
I like it,
current historical Tuttle property.
yes. And call the property historical.
This is obviously a whole other conversation, but like, this does kind of get us into, and I feel like I've tried to point us in this direction too, but of historic landscapes and
Yes.
acknowledging that historical land is a real thing too.
Yes,
That's
So I
right.
think
You're
that
right.
if we went through this with like the Gladstone property.
That's right.
We can still.
So we have,
Why
we have a motion,
Conservation
is not
Commission.
recognized.
we have a motion on the table, a second motion.
Yes.
All in favor?
I-
Aye, okay.
Sorry, I'm being a hard ass, but my thought was simply this.
Totally get it.
But my thought is simply this, like, okay, so Rachel and I are gonna negotiate for $100, right? When I go into that negotiation, why wouldn't I ask for $100? Why would I go in and ask for $80? right? Like, I might as well ask for what we want. We can always soften
Yeah,
our position,
okay,
but if
yeah.
we don't go in strong, we're already ceding
Okay, well, that's what,
our,
my sort of second resolution
yeah,
was
I
kind
like
of
it. I like your
along
second.
that line.
I like it.
But I don't wanna, I don't wanna dismiss the
You
problem.
don't wanna walk away with no money. I totally get it, right?
Right, I feel like there's hedging some bets here.
Right,
Yeah, but if you go into negotiation, and you don't ask for the $100, then, I mean, the reality of this whole situation is as soon as this comes forward, we're at risk of losing $100. I mean, we're all like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just looking at our track record.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
And is that our position? Is there anything else we want to say as our position here or not?
Okay, well, I think, Linda, you've heard our discussion,
Yeah,
and we've
yeah,
had a
yeah.
lot of things, and
Yeah.
you can take this to the,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Carolyn,
Yeah,
can take this to
Yeah.
the other boards, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can work with them. I mean, the thing that the planning board has is that because these things are all special permitted, they can
yeah,
sort of require certain things that, that if it was just as of right thing, they couldn't. Or at least they could ask for certain things. They may not get everything they want. They may not get most of what they want, but they can at least get some things, which if you're just looking at something where you're going to sort of as of right, they can tear it down tomorrow,
yeah,
then, you're.
yeah.
But I do want to just say that I do feel that, like you said, like looking back at our track record, again, I do feel like our track record is getting better. And I do feel like the town is noticing us more, like, that the fact that they're really involving us or coming to us, I feel that does feel significant, like that feels like a significant shift in the past 2 years of
Yes.
them being more considerate of us existing
Yes.
and like that more people are,
Yes,
it does feel like,
yes.
We're
And
being
Linda
very-
reads her emails and goes to these meetings. That also.
What is that, Esther?
I said,
yes, Linda is nice.
Linda reads her emails and goes to these meetings.
I don't go to all the meetings.
Yeah.
There's many more I'd like to go to, and
I think it's thanks to Linda that.
No, I know.
What
So
Rachel
that-
was
that-
just saying, it's thanks to
Linda is
Linda.
Yeah.
the majority of it.
But I think you can go and you can explain our position, including the details that like,
Yeah.
if you take the Paul Revere house and you move it to Springfield, Mass. It's not the same as the Paul Revere house.
No, you're correct, but the little red schoolhouse in Mary had a little lamb that was moved onto the Wayside Inn property and people still know it. It's still a significant building. Like it didn't diminish its, just because it's not in Sterling, it's in Sudbury now, it's
Yeah.
still significant. So
Yeah, well.
House of Seven Gables. And Sandwich. You know what I mean? It's just not the same. Anyway,
houses got moved a lot. I mean, I think.
I know, they absolutely did. Sure.
True, that's the other side of it.
Totally.
On the one hand, you have that point that the houses were moved a lot. On the other hand, I think we are recognizing the kind of thing that Andrews
And
was
I think
emphasizing.
that I do, again, as much, like, I want to get this group into more of historical landscapes and acknowledging that the land is the historical nature of the land is just as important as houses. So like,
Yeah,
I am with you, but
yeah. But that structure is Framus itself. See what I'm saying? That's kind of the thing. So anyway, we can move on.
Okay,
I think we've
spent a lot
killed
of time on it.
I know,
I think it's
I
worthwhile,
think we
but
had to, I don't know how to,
For
Yeah.
the meeting on Monday.
oh, yeah, right, thank you.
They have 550 King Street on it, but it looks like it's a stormwater management permit. Amend definitive subdivision and site plan review. So I'm not sure if they're gonna be talking.
I think it's not included in that, but I think one or two members may bring it up,
Hmm.
not sure.
And interestingly too, before that, there's an informal discussion on 410 Great Road, which is the mill.
Yeah, when is, right,
Yeah,
yeah, he's already said he's gonna tear that down, which we should,
coming to town, to Terry, you think that
we should talk, you know.
Even Terry.
Discuss their ideas for 410 Great Road.
So what time is that?
That's scheduled for 6:40.
In the
They're only
senior
getting there
center?
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
they, I mean, that's what it's scheduled. for.
5 minutes
It's an
discussion?
Informal discussion, and the public hearing on 550 stormwater is at 6:45.
Oh, so they're like not really discussing for it.
And yes, it's in the.
Mhm.
Multi-purpose.
In the senior
For
center.
this, oh yeah, the center on Shad.
All right. So,
For some reason, they're not calling it the senior center.
yeah, right. So do you guys want me to send you a write-up of what I might approach the other boards with? Or do you want me to just go approach them?
Go for it.
Okay,
Good luck.
we have two,
We have a resolution.
we have two resolutions, well, we have two votes that we
Yeah.
voted tonight.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that and I'll pass along our discussion about
Mhm.
the need to have a plan before moving forward. We'd like to see some progress on that before it would get moved off-site, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry this took so long, but I kind of had to.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Now, the draft orchard MOU is only 3 pages long. I sent it to Shanti after Andrew revised it, and she has a few edits, nothing major. Do you guys have that? I didn't make copies. I sent it to you.
This is very brief.
Yeah, it's very brief, very brief. Any thoughts, Andrew, on her changes?
Oh, what were her changes?
Everything in track changes.
Oh, really? Those are all her changes?
I believe so. Yes.
I thought those are all my changes.
Oh, maybe she made some on top of yours. Well, it's only 2 pages. Why don't you read it over, see what you think?
Is it the blue ones?
Oh, there's different colors. I didn't.
I don't have
The- the dog- the
Okay.
red ones are Shanti's.
I think the red ones are mine.
Sorry, I could tell you if, once I call
I
it.
only see two comments on the side.
Okay, hang on, let me see what it is. All right, so the red ones are Andrew's. Oh, the red ones look like, why do I have mine? Oh. The blue ones are Shanti's. So I'll tell you what they are, Andrew.
So I got them.
Okay, you have them?
Yeah. I was just handed the color copy. I didn't even think I needed a color copy, so I printed it in black and white.
Right, so the blue ones are Shanti's.
They look fine to me.
Yeah, okay.
I just put it in the form of a legal contract. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, that was good. All right, so what does, anyone else have comments on the edits? No?
So we really think that
What's that?
I mean, the first property is this house from 1922-23. By now, that's over 100 years old, I guess, but usually we haven't thought that properties of that age are significant historic properties, but we think it is now.
Well, they, first of all, they certainly can be. Anything 50 years or older, or even newer than 50 years can be. It's not like they can't be. So that's one thing. The other thing is, we're talking about a big package here. We're talking about, the whole orchard and the 3 buildings that we would like to save in the orchard. So I would say yes. My thought, I mean, if you look at the outside, and we wrote up a Macros form, which, you can go to Macros and look at it, I think yes, I would say personally. And Shanti did assess the outside for the Macros plan.
I'm good.
Okay.
Anyone else comments? Okay?
Mhm.
Rachel, okay, all right, so I will move forward with
Do
that.
you need a motion?
Yes, I think we should take a vote. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move that the orchard, is it now still a draft or becomes an MOU?
I guess
We approve it.
Well, it's a draft until the select board agree, I guess. Well, this is our draft, our final. This is our.
Okay,
final.
so we'll say, I make a motion that the orchard MOU be finalized and submitted to the Board of Trustees for execution.
Board of Select,
I'm
Select
sorry.
Board.
Sorry. select
And
board.
also, if they agree to do this, then I would go to the town council, make sure they're okay with this.
Oh, it goes to town council.
Well, I don't know, I think it should, no?
It goes to town council.
I would think so.
Yeah.
But first, the select board has to buy into this. like, because we want them to sign it, they're the other party.
Wouldn't town council bring it to the select board?
I don't know, you think?
I think so.
You don't think I should approach them,
No.
let them know?
No, because the first thing they're gonna say is, did you talk to town council?
Okay. All right,
Because it's a legal document.
yeah, okay,
They're not gonna weigh in on a legal document unless they have counsel.
I understand what you're saying, okay. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Just one point
Yeah.
before we go further, on the minutes, on the agenda, excuse me, and this is a legal technicality, I guess. On that and on, Andrew's motion, you called it an MOU. On the
Oh,
agreement, actually, it's an MOA.
I want it to be an MOA, it has more substance, I've looked, legally, it has more substance, so that was an error on the agenda. So
Okay.
it should have been MOA.
Oh, okay.
My fault, my error,
So let's change that motion to read the. memorandum of
yeah, MOA,
agreement.
yes, thank you, okay.
Still in favor.
Okay. So then we could do this pretty quickly, I think. The CPC Historic Funds situation,
Right, so should we vote on it?
we did, didn't we?
We didn't vote everyone, we
Oh,
did.
sorry.
First and second, but we didn't call for full.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's
CPC,
my fault.
CPC funds. As you saw, wherever you have the, whatever I sent you, which I
Yes.
can't find it now, but it's here. There's, and Carolyn's here, she's the chair of the CPC, so ask her any questions you want, but,
As public input.
as public input.
No, that's not public.
So as you can see, there's quite a bit of money in the historic resource category of the CPC funds, more than any other category.
So we should not be so hesitant about spending the money,
That's right.
because it doesn't do any good just sitting there.
But the question for tonight that I've been posing to you all, in past years, oh, I wrote it down somewhere.
It was as low as 10%.
Yeah, where is that percentage
It
thing?
was written on the thing that you wrote out.
Does anyone have that? Darn.
You wrote out a separate paragraph,
Yeah.
right? In terms of-
I have it right here. Sorry, do you want me to read it?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. See separate attached table listed among amounts, sorry. See separate attached table listing amounts in the CPC categories, including historic, open space, affordable, community, housing, and recreation. The historic category has the most funds, over 785,000. For the past several years, allocations of new CPC funds were divvied up approximately as follows. Open space, 40%, historic, 18%, housing, 20%, recreation, 20%, administration, 2%. This year, we've accumulated a lot of historic. I'm thinking of offering to take a lower percentage, possibly as low as the minimum required 10%. Let's plan to discuss at the meeting, including possible use for the historic funds.
so what do you think? We could take more, we could suggest, I mean, it's up to the CPC to decide what allocations we do. Every year we decide.
Yeah.
But we could, suggest we want more than the minimum or some other percentage. But because there's so much and we haven't used it and we don't tend to use it, we will hopefully in the future. And, open space and affordable housing and even recreation use a lot more funding to buy open space or to develop affordable housing or recreation. So what do you all think about us taking a lower percentage?
I would hold at 14% until we know what's happening with the total.
Or 18%? Is that what we use?
18.
18.
Oh, 18%.
You're saying stay with. the
I'd
ones that
stay
we had?
until we have more clarity on the Tuttle situation.
When does it get decided every year? Is it,
We usually vote in February,
okay.
March. February.
I mean, I think this is a call to us to be better about getting, I feel like we have a lot of, like all the markers and stuff like that. Have we done another round with Fannin and Lair? Like that, we haven't done that in a while. Yeah.
yes, we
Have we?
we have done, yeah,
Okay.
we've done those every year. We'll probably do another one this year.
Okay, but that's always like 10.
It's been
We just,
just less than
yeah.
10,000.
So I
I
mean,
don't know, I feel like we just need to be more proactive with.
well, I don't know that we have such big projects. That's the thing. I'm not saying we won't in the future.
I mean, I feel like that's like, I feel like we've talked a lot about like ways to do it cheaply, like if we
Yeah.
have $10,000, well, let's get a nice slab of granite.
Right, but we only have a certain amount of money in that fund. You
Is that not?
you can't.
$785,000.
No, you
We
cannot.
can't use.
I'd have to put in another, well, I could put in another application. In other words, CPC approves projects, not, we can't just go into this.
Oh, I understand,
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
that, I got
But
that,
she's proposing a project of granite markers.
yes.
I could put in another proposal for granite markers. Is that, we don't have to decide tonight,
No,
but
no,
that
I'm
is,
just saying,
yeah.
I'm just saying that this is maybe a call to us to be more.
Yes,
proactive
yes, yes.
With projects
Got
and being like, hey, we have the money to do them, and I do think it would be helpful, and I know. To kind of know what the parameters are for what we can fund. I feel like we kind of know, but like, is there anything written up of like? You can ask for all of these, but this is, like, I know we've talked about like how churches and things, but if there is a more concrete that all of us can get a write-up of like, you can ask for XYZ, do not even think about asking for this to sort of inform our question or our potential projects.
It is very vague, I think, on purpose.
Hmm.
For historic, obviously you can't create anything historic. Like you can't do an oral history project, something like that. That's one of the things they always talk about. You can't do something like that.
But could you digitize?
could you what?
You
Could you
can
digitize
you can
things?
only digitize if you're like we wanted to digitize and have key codes for the town reports,
Yeah,
but you can't do that because that is not really preserved. Like Diane Corey put in money to have the town reports bound. So you can do that because you're preserving the physical records. But you can't like go that extra step and get them digitized and
because that's creating
so
something.
that's creating something.
Interesting, okay.
The only thing we could do is there is a database of all the projects that have been done of
Mhm.
towns, all the towns, and we could download that,
Okay.
I think, and then
That's
see
great.
what other towns have done,
Mhm.
and that might spur us to think of
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. I think that would be, yeah, I think that would be nice.
So, for instance, there's the church in town. Again,
Yes.
it's gray area whether money CPC funds can use for the church. They once ruled they couldn't, then later they seem to say maybe, so. Maybe that what might be one place,
Well, we couldn't use it for a church if it's gonna continue to be a church, but if
it's a nonprofit.
it's not gonna be a church anymore, I assume
We don't know.
that we could,
But could we also, or could we use money to preserve, even if we move them, but like. Could you use it to remove them and store them?
The church, the
Remove what?
The
window.
Oh,
The church question is really difficult. There was a big court case that
yeah.
didn't,
But if it's not really the church, it's the
Right.
historical society
yeah,
getting the money to take objects
that would be interesting if it's no longer a church.
No.
Oh, I think if it's no longer.
if it's no longer a church, it seems to me it's
It's the
perfectly
building.
acceptable.
It would actually be.
But would
easier.
it have to be a nonprofit or, because can we not fund
Yeah.
private?
But we could,
Yeah,
so
I
the
think it's
historical
just-
society's endeavors to
But,
preserve.
yeah, and I'm not sure if we could do that because it has to have a public
Use,
use, a public good.
yeah.
So if we took them and put them in storage, you wouldn't.
Right.
You're saying take them out of the church? Beautiful
Well, just- We
windows?
talked about that.
Really?
Yeah, well, what if the new owner doesn't? want to pay
Oh,
less?
I see what you're saying.
You know, with religious
All right.
icons.
Well, okay, so anyway,
Anyway,
should we, Andrew's suggesting we stay with the 18%. What do other people feel about that?
I would say we feel it's a little like 15%. Still a lot to be done, but I do think this is a good, we need to be better about using it.
Jonathan?
I'm not, I don't have any particular
Okay,
opinions on this. I think the point is we should be spending this money.
Right.
we've been much too, timid to.
Yes.
We have this resource, we should
Right.
be using it for the purpose that it's intended.
And remember too, that doubled when you sold Robinson Road. Cause that money went back into the CPA bucket, so
True.
that's
Mm-hmm.
in part why you have such a high.
Mhm. Good point. Chris, what do you think?
I think, I mean, if you go down, it's probably hard to get money back up, so it's, you know, you don't wanna just. But if there's another, category here that really needs the funds, you know, we can.
It's a yearly decision.
Oh, okay.
Yes, however, I think that piece that you just shared with us is huge, so it's double through restricted funds.
Mhm. Restricted funds?
Yeah, so basically it's earmarked funds, it's funds that come back in that are earmarked to a purpose, that's a restricted fund. It's
Yeah,
just
well,
a
that
accounting
785 is restricted, that's yours. And that undesignated fund, the 285, that's undesignated, that can be used for any type of project, so if you have.
But what I'm saying is simply the fact that our account is not large because it's been growing at 18%. It's large because it's had this one-time
200,000,
restricted
350?
300,000?
Yeah.
That's 300,000.
Okay. So
Alright, so then we'd be down to 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, which means that if you go down in your percentage to say 10%, you're gonna accumulate far less than the others.
And I think to Chris's point, like, if we do.
No, but didn't that money come out of this originally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not, you know, it's not more because we got it back.
It was a good ROI, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, I thought we bought it for
We
250
did buy it
and got
for
300
and then you
back.
put the
Oh.
roof on,
Ah,
that too, that was 60-ish.
uh-huh. All right, well,
And then he decided he wanted a different color roof, so
Yeah.
it was a waste anyway.
yeah, right.
it's kept back.
Kept it, you
It was
know,
a,
deteriorating further,
Yeah.
yes.
So, this is not, you know, we don't have to be really
No.
formal about this, but it's what, it sort of seems like we want to stay with 18, some of us want to stay with 18% rather than go down.
well, of all the categories, but beyond administrative, which was 2%, everything else is a higher
Yes.
percentage already.
Right. All right, fine. Okay.
so like, who would actually benefit if we take an 8% cut? Would it just go to administration?
No, it would go to one of the other, to one or more of the other categories, open space, affordable housing, or
Yeah.
recreation.
We're already taking the least, except for administration.
All right. Okay, we'll try to go fast here. It's getting late. Let's see.
Yeah, it's almost
Oh.
tomorrow.
It's almost tomorrow. Public input?
No,
The only input that I have, that's not public, I'm a member update, you mind, sorry.
You wanna do it?
I have found the keys to the long store.
Oh, that's something. That's amazing. That's good. We
I
can go in there
located
and
the
look at it.
keys. I have not gone.
No, I think wait.
I
till-
have driven by
right?
twice, and both times I have not been able to locate our trailer,
Oh.
but
It's way in the back, I think.
I'm not sure.
Anyway,
I
let's
have to
see.
pull in and actually
Yeah.
get out, and I have been hesitant, especially, and then the snow came, and I'm
Hey,
not doing.
Wait till the spring. That's fine.
But
That's right.
I have found the key.
That is amazing, actually, that you found the keys. All right. I do have a new update as of today. Last week, or I mean, last month, I think I mentioned 359 King Street, that the owner and the project manager for 12 Robinson Road is working on 359 King Street. It's pretty, you know, it's right on King Street. It used to be a little farm up until recently. And it still looks quite historic. And Shanti and I walked through there. I told you that, and she identified what's historic and what she would suggest would be kept. We have no legal authority over it, but the owner seemed quite amenable and wanting to preserve some aspects, not everything strictly. So I got a call today from Ryan, who's the project manager, who we worked with on 12 Robinson Road, actually very closely. And there's two things that they want to do. They want to take down the barn as it is, but rebuild it to look a lot like it looks now. And that's because the owner thinks the clapboards are not in good shape, blah, blah, blah. But they said they'd rebuild it to look like it does now. The other thing is to demo the interior, and they want to do a whole different interior. And so Henry, what's his last name? The building commissioner, Fontaine, told Ryan he wants a letter or an email from us that we are okay with those changes. Ryan asked me and I said, we don't have any legal authority except, chapter 65, they would have to come first. And, Ryan then said, no, he doesn't want to demolish it. And
Well, he did, the barn, he wants to take the
he
barn.
wants to take down the barn, but doesn't want to take down the rest of it, the house.
Okay, but the barn is still a structure.
Yeah, right. So I did say I should tell him, yes, for the barn, he should come before us.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, everyone.
If he's applying for a demolition permit, he should have.
Yeah, no, you're right. I wasn't thinking straight.
What's the number?
359. It's like, what color is it? Gray with
It's a grayish.
green trim?
59 King?
Yeah, 359 King.
Two down from Badgers. If you go to Badgers, then you have that little duplex. It's the next house where Rich Crowley, did you know Rich Crowley? He lived.
Right.
So it's still like I looked it up and it's in a trust.
It's in a trust? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't,
The owner is Rich Crowley. This is, I thought.
not
it said
anymore.
Crow-
He's not the owner.
I thought it said Crowley.
Doug
I
Long.
It says Crowley Trust?
feel like I looked this up at the last meeting and
Of course, if you're looking on the.
So I think you're right. I wasn't thinking straight. They would have to come before us. with
Yes.
the barn.
It's a
Yeah.
big barn.
They were renters, but Doug Long.
Okay, but for the interior,
We don't, no
Yeah.
Thursday.
all right. So I will tell
I could.
Henry that and Brian that. Yeah. Okay.
So theoretically, is it inventoried?
Yeah,
Oh, it is inventory? Yeah. I didn't look. It is?
It has to be.
Okay, so if he applies for demolition permit, since it's inventoried, Henry will notify you, at which
Right.
point in time, we would have to determine if it's historically significant, and if it's historically significant, then he has to go through the full formal process.
Right.
We could have potentially, I don't know, a chance to look at it and they could decide that it's not historically significant, in which
Right.
case we would just tell Henry to issue the permit, but
Right. Right.
I
Okay.
think you start the process with the formal permit, because then chapter 65 applies.
Right.
Because right now we're kind of outside the law, we should stay in the
Well,
law.
you're right. I agree. I just wasn't thinking straight. Okay, good. We'll do that. Okay, and let's see.
Well, the other good part about that property is they were talking about building a lot of houses out back and he's not going to, he's just gonna put a couple behind and then he's talking about putting a conservation restriction on the rest.
It's gorgeous back there.
It's
gorgeous.
Like 4 acre, he's got a 4 acre lot,
Beautiful. Yeah,
Nice,
so
nice.
that's a win.
yes,
Great, that's
That'd be
really
great.
great.
yeah. So,
There's a lot of those properties, not us, but other ones, even on sort of my part of Foster Street there.
Yeah.
They have acres in the back, and I know one of my neighbors was saying, people were trying to buy it from me. I was telling them, no, I'm not gonna sell it.
Yeah,
yeah,
So that's good, but
nice, yeah, your house.
it says the owner is 359 King Street LLC.
oh, yes. that's it.
Oh, okay. All right, so then I think the last thing wait, and you don't have any updates on design for the certificate for.
I mean, I showed you the.
No, it was nice.
Last
But
time.
we were gonna talk about text. I guess we didn't get further. We were gonna look at old text maybe.
Oh, yeah,
No,
If there was a certificate,
Perpetua,
what's that?
that we were gonna use Perpetua.
Who's Perpetua?
the font,
Oh, the font.
Iris, yeah.
No, but what the text,
No, no, no,
what
no,
the text
no,
should say, the wording.
no.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was just pointing out.
Oh,
yes.
But I.
Which those signs keep down, by the way.
She's making a joke after the font discussion.
Right.
And I screwed up because I forgot the names.
all right, so let's
Keep
just,
down, I noticed.
so you don't have any updates, but,
I mean, aside, no, I mean, I think we were still just trying to see if there was an old.
I say we go with what we got
Okay,
and just do it. Let's just do it.
I mean,
Do you
She's
like
got
the
the
wording?
design.
sure, let me see what I have, I think it was, I just used the wording that was.
Let's just hear the wording once more, because I don't remember the wording.
Uh,
Or I recommend we make a subcommittee. And that way you two can talk about the wording. And whatever you disagree upon, I'm good with. So I'm fine with a subcommittee.
Is that all right? We'll talk about it later.
yeah.
Okay, fine. Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay. All right, we'll talk about it later. Remind me, Rachel.
Do we have
Subcommittee.
to vote on that?
What?
Do we have to vote on
Do we have to vote on?
On
the
subcommittee? I make a motion that we form a subcommittee to finalize the historical preservation certificate.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All right, and it'll be Linda and Rachel.
Yes, Linda and Rachel.
Okay, so I'm looking at the October 8th minutes. It has some track changes in it. What? We don't have it here.
I read it, no, I read it, I didn't print it out. It looked good to me.
Does anyone have any comments, or if not, approve, do we approve it and changes?
I move we accept the minutes of the historical commission for October.
Eight.
Sorry, my name is spelled wrong in both of them, in both of them, that was all I can,
It's AI's fault.
I know.
Exactly.
All right,
Now
so,
there's something we complain for everything.
yeah.
It was doing well, it had done well the first few times.
Isn't that funny? Okay, so I'm gonna make a note, Ellis, to correct.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. And then, oh wait, so you made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in
Approve the
favor?
October minutes.
Do I have all in
As
favor?
amended.
As amended,
Second,
all in favor?
I,
Okay. Then let's look at the November 12th minutes. A few edits.
Yeah, name, misspell.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Do I have a motion?
so move we approve the minutes of the November, whatever they are, minutes for historical commission.
Okay, maybe can you just tell Chris what the correct spelling is? Do you mind doing that, Chris, so I don't have to get
Oh,
involved in that?
I'll do it before.
Do you know the correct spelling of her names? Good. I'm sorry, you made a motion.
To accept the minutes.
I
of
second
November.
his
Second.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I think that's it for tonight. Next meeting date,
Yes, I think it's the 14th of January.
does that work for everybody?
We're on par here.
So yes, that works for everybody?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You know, I'd just like to say one more thing before we adjourn, which is, I do feel a little bad that when we were talking about the Tuttle House, we talked about the owner, without actually giving him an opportunity to sort of say what his motives were. So I'm
Correct.
feeling a little bit bad because we're assuming what his motives are.
That's right.
So I feel bad about that, but also if he'd like to come and talk to us, I'd be open to that.
I think that's a great idea. Sure.
Just saying, I mean,
Yeah, no, you're right.
you know. He's not here
Right.
to explain his perspective, so. I was heavily
Well,
guessing what his perspectives were, which wasn't really fair without.
it might be better actually to have him talk to this group that includes
Yeah,
other boards.
yes.
which,
Yeah,
You know, which
agreed.
have more power than we do.
Right, and then any of us who are available could come to that meeting.
Yeah. You're meeting with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just
And then
saying,
the-
it's not
You know,
fair.
we approved the wording for one of those, whatever, the Indian.
Plaque? Yeah,
Have we put it up yet?
this, the Neshoba plaque,
Yeah.
I had to order it.
Oh, right.
So I haven't gotten it from
Oh,
him.
right.
So this it came out really bad. I was gonna show it to you, but you can't tell, so
Oh,
crappy
okay.
looking. But I made a decision. I got rid of the first three words was, this marks the, I got rid of this marks the, because it starts with approximate location,
I
or,
like that.
right? Well, we don't need-
That's
Because
redundant.
none of our plaques say this marks the.
Right, right.
You don't need that, now it's much shorter now, it's
Yeah.
nice, shorter.
words, remove.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I thought you were gonna say
Uh-oh.
the CA versus the circa conversation.
Oh,
And I was thinking, oh my God, you're gonna go back to the circa versus not circa, or about, or the wiggly
No, no,
line.
no, no, that's,
Oh.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.